Transformers of Eternia.
You're watching Transformers of Eternia. Now, today I want to talk about something. Since Halloween is getting close, I want to talk about two things that I enjoy. I like scary type of movies and stuff like that, and I also like Masters of the Universe. So if you put those two together, they kind of mix well together, because if you think about Masters of the Universe, if you actually know the characters in it, you're basically dealing with a bunch of horror creatures that are your villains in just general, you know? So I just wanted to talk about the horror elements of Masters of the Universe, because if you think about it, there's a lot of them, and no one really actually thinks too much about the elements of horror in it, because we've never actually gotten a movie that actually makes the characters look exactly like they do in like the cartoons and stuff. Well, I shouldn't say the cartoons. Make them look more realistic to the way they would really be in like a cartoon or comic or the actual toys. You know, if you just take what they look like as a toy and turn it into a monster on the screen, you're going to get a big variation. So I just wanted to kind of go over some of the creatures and villains that are just creepy in Masters of the Universe if you really think about it. So I figure I'll start off with Beastman. Beastman he's supposed to be this giant, hairy, lumbering type of creature man that's like I don't know, kind of like a mix between a Bigfoot and just this, I don't know, this creepy inbreed monster thing or whatever. I don't know. And he's just huge and lumbering, and he's just got like, he can control animals with his mind. That's kind of creepy. So if you imagine this monster that looks creepy, and then all of a sudden all these monster animals can come after you just because he was in the room and or around, you know, controlling them. And then it's not enough that he is actually a tough guy, you know, as well, and he's a villain. So that's already enough to get away from. You know, if you're He-Man, at least you're strong, but it's like, man, that's already something to be reckoned with. So then let's move on to like Trapjaw. Now Trapjaw is like a guy that's literally, his skin is like rotten looking because he's got this metal helmet on. And you could see in the picture, he's got like a trap jaw and metal helmet on. I don't know if the helmet's screwed into his skull or whatever. And then he's got this mechanical arm that's completely like he got his arm cut off or something, and he's got this mechanical arm they can put different mounts on for like guns and like clamps and stuff, and he's just kind of creepy looking. And it's like, what, you know, if you had like more of a backstory on all these individual characters in like a horror type of element, they would be great horror creatures all by themselves, just without the Masters of the Universe involved. But then you get Skeletor, of course. Skeletor being a guy that had acid, basically it burned his face off, and then through magic and stuff, and him doing a deal with Hordak, basically, he was able to keep his face like skeleton and still be able to survive. And of course, he's not like a normal, like he's not like a human, so he's got blue skin naturally. Anyway, but he's like a mix between half dead and half living kind of feel. And I think in the comic books, he was like a demon from another dimension as well. There's different elements on how he came about, but he's creepy. Let's just be honest. And he's this leader of this evil group, and he's using magic and sorcery and all this stuff. And he's just evil. And I mean, he's hanging out with Evil Lynn, and she's basically a witch. I mean, she's pretty much a witch, an evil witch. So, I mean, that's kind of scary too. And she can use things to deceive you and all that stuff and make you think that she's this other thing or whatever. And it's just, these are all great horror elements. And I'm just talking about Skeletor's group. Scareglow's another one. You can see his bones through his skin. Like his skin is like this glowing kind of like almost like see-through element, and you could see everything, and you could see his bones glowing in there, and he's this skeleton. It's very creepy. This guy with a cape just kind of shows up, and you could literally see through his skin, and oh man. And that's another cool element of Masters of the Universe. It's kind of horror elements. And then you get like Webstor. He's like a half man, half spider. I mean, you could definitely see him hiding in caves and kind of coming after you in the dark, like something you'd see on Lord of the Rings or something. I mean, it's another cool element. And you get like Merman. He's a monster. He's a guy that lives underwater, and I imagine he's got more troops underwater as well. He can also control fish and kind of do stuff with fish, kind of like Aquaman in a sense. But he's more of a monster, kind of merman type of like a creature from the Black Lagoon type of element to him. And he's just cool. I mean, I just think that this is another character that could be used in a horror way too. That could be pretty creepy if you think about it. If you're in the darkness of the water and you see this guy just coming out of there, he's got his sword or whatever. It's just very creepy looking. And then I'm gonna get into like the Horde, and the Horde is another group that I enjoy more than actually Skeletor and his group or whatever. And the Horde is basically Hordak is basically Count Dracula. Let's be honest. And he's just pale white skin. He's got these pointy ears. He has this thing up behind him like his whatever his collar is basically up kind of feel, but it goes way up behind. It kind of also kind of feels like a Dark Crystal villain in the same way in a lot of regards, in some elements anyway, not all, but anyway. But Hordak is a great villain, and he's super powerful, and he's just a great villain for Masters of the Universe and She-Ra. So I think that's another cool character. And then you get into his villain, the guys that hang out with him. Now there's some creepy people in there. You get Grizzlor. He's basically like Wolfman, but he never changes back. He's always like this grizzly, fur everywhere, just this monstrous guy, kind of like Beastman was for Skeletor. But he is just this monstrous creature. And then you get Leech. This is a creature I think is literally horror, because Leech can literally stick to things. He's got like these suction cups in his hands. So he's kind of got like these 3-finger hands that just suction to things. And he's got this giant mouth, and he can just kind of suck, like he sucks people's faces off or something. I don't know. It's just, this guy is, I mean, Leech obviously, but he's green. He's not like a leech black or whatever. He's literally got like all these elements where he could suck your skin off and your face off or whatever. It's just creepy stuff. And you'd see this guy in a swamp somewhere just coming up out of the mud and goo and stuff, and all of a sudden he's just grabbing you, and you can't get away from him because he can like lock onto your skin and stick to you, and just it's just disgusting. So that's another thing that I would think is a horror element of the Masters of the Universe. Another one is, well, Mosquitor, because he's like a mosquito, and he's got like this blood thing on his like chest. You can literally see like the blood that he sucks into his chest. Now I know the toys don't like to talk about blood and all that stuff, but he literally has like this liquid thing in the toy where you can actually see like the blood meter basically showing how much blood is in there. Anyway, you could press a button on the back of the toy or whatever, you could see like the bubbles in the blood, and it's just creepy. But he's another one that he's literally could suck the life out of you or whatever. It's just creepy type of villains for Hordak. And another one is Montana. Now, I know in the cartoon they made him look he made him completely just useless and just stupid back in the 80s. And I don't really see the cartoon as the meter for coolness of the characters. I just think of them as like more or less what the toys look like. And then you go by that, and it's in comic books, and there's different versions of these things and different elements to it. But I think Montana is kind of creepy because he's got like this round mouth with all these teeth like going in every direction. And he's got like this big head, like it's just out of shape looking like almost head with these big ears. And his eyes can like come out and go way up so he could see above things. And he's got like four almost humanoid type of legs. He's just a weird guy. He's not like your normal type of henchman type of villain creature. And if they did him right in like a movie, I wouldn't want him to be like some one-off dummy character that everyone makes fun of and just kind of oh, here comes Montana, I think that they should make him more interesting. I don't know how, I don't know why, which way, but I just think he would be a great creepy, monstrous type of villain to have in a movie or something, if they ever possibly could figure out how to do that properly. So yeah, Mantana's another one. And there is also this other character called Modulok, and that guy is a guy that literally he takes parts off of things. He could take his own arms off and put on two arms, or he could four legs or whatever, two legs. He could take off his head and have two heads. He could do all these. He's like mixing and matching with his body parts. And if you think about that in like a horror movie, that would be a creepy thing in a horror movie. But it's in a Masters of the Universe, like it's like literally a toy. And it's like if you think about that done properly in a movie, that would be very creepy. That is messed up. That this guy could literally mix and match parts of his body, and that's creepy. So that's another one. So I don't know. I could go on and on with this. So anyway, I don't want to go on forever. This video is already getting long. I just wanted to kind of go through the horror elements of Masters of the Universe. Tell me what you think about these characters, and what horror, if there's any other ones I forgot about that you want to mention. I know I didn't get into the Snake Men, but I just kind of wanted to touch on the most ones that I like the most, I guess. So anyway, like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.